TMZ Live. Charles here.
And I'm Elex Michaelson. I am clearly not Harvey Levin, filling in for him today on loan from Fox 11 Los Angeles. Good to be back with you.
Good to have you here. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by clearly, but I'm going to take it the way I want to and have a good laugh at Harvey's expense. All right, we got to get to the moment that everyone was waiting for in A$AP Rocky's assault trial here in L.A. Rihanna did show up in court today, as we had reported that she would be there on Wednesday to support her man. But it got off to an interesting start because a lot of people thought, wait a second, she's not showing up. And that was read a certain way because of things that had happened in the trial yesterday. She is there, but we're going to tell you about all the things that happened behind the scenes for her to get there and the decisions that were clearly made. A$AP Rocky showed up for court with his attorney, Joe Tacopina, as he has every day. They walked into court, a huge commotion around him, more than any other day. And that's because everyone was there expecting Rihanna to walk in.
With him. But she didn't walk in with him.
And so for a moment, people were going, wait, she didn't show up. She didn't show up. What's going on? Here's what you weren't seeing. As that was going on, as he's walking in, all the cameras were on him. Rihanna was in a car that went into the parking garage. You know, you've been down there, Elex, you know.
Well, so they usually people have to go in through the front, and sometimes they make exceptions for especially high-profile people like Rihanna, who apparently was able to go around back, or in the underground is really where it is, where you're able to get there, and then the cameras can't see you. Apparently, that's what she did. She is in the front row.
Yes, so we do know she is in court right now. The trial is going on. There is A$AP Rocky with his legal team sitting next to him. The camera has been focused on him or on A$AP Relli, who is testifying right now.
That's all it's allowed to do. The photographer is not allowed to shoot it like you're watching some sort of sporting event and get random shots from the crowd. That's not allowed when you're shooting in court.
But people are watching this, waiting for the camera to pan over.
Right.
It's not going to happen. But we have people in court, and we know that she is there in the front row. You're not going to get that money shot that everyone's waiting for.
Well, I'll tell you who is definitely taking notice is the members of the jury who are sitting there are going to see someone as blindingly famous as Rihanna sitting in the front row of the gallery. She's probably making eye contact with some of them. You know, I was wondering whether this could backfire if she shows up too glamorous. It looks like they're being played a little bit, but I do think that if she showed up just supporting A$AP Rocky, it's going to have a beneficial effect for him when that jury pool takes a look.
Well, we have a producer who's sitting in court watching all this, and we've been told that the jurors absolutely did notice when Rihanna walked in.
Pretty hard not to.
They were, and they have been looking at her. So is it going to have an impact? It's not supposed to.
Well,
right?
but you can't think that it doesn't help him. I mean, a reminder that he's a family guy, that he's got kids, that he's loyal to her, all that helps him when his character is very much in question in this case.
And Elex, you're exactly right. He also needs a good day in court after yesterday's testimony from A$AP Relli, who is the alleged victim in this case, was very, very compelling. You know, there was video showing A$AP with the gun. He was grazed by the bullet. And so this is going to be a tough case for him to win with that kind of evidence. He needs good character people out there like Rihanna supporting him to basically show the jury that he shouldn't be locked up over this.
Yeah, this, you know, the testimony you mentioned, Derek, from A$AP Relli went through the details of, this is all about an argument that Rocky and Relli got into back in 2021, and during the argument, Relli says that Rocky pulled out the gun, which you can see here. Now, Rocky's defense has been that was a prop gun. We'll see how that goes. Relli is going to be cross-examined later today by Rocky's team. So I don't know how they're going to refute this, but it was to hear him go through the details of it and the shock that he expressed. He said, I've never seen, they've been friends since high school, by the way. And he said, I'd never seen him with a gun of any sort, fake or not. And so for him to produce a gun during this argument, it really shocked me.
You think this is going well for Relli so far, not Rocky?
For the prosecution, I think to have Relli up there saying, like, I never saw my friend with a gun, suddenly I was shocked, and he even said, I was prepared to die with my dignity. I told him, if you're going to pull out a gun, you better use it. That was the testimony. But again, it always looks one way. When the prosecution gets their witness up there, it always looks like, oh, this is impossible. You got to wait and see what happens on cross-examination.
And then some people are saying that Relli's a snitch, including a photographer after the court.
Yeah, this was really interesting. After court yesterday, after that testimony, Relli's walking out, and listen to this debate he gets into with one of the photographers out there.
Hey, Relli, some people call you a snitch. What you say about that?
Snitch.
Any comment on that?
You be a snitch if somebody shot at you?
Nah, I don't never snitch.
You never snitch so somebody shoot at you?
I been shot out. I got a bullet in my leg right now.
You about to shoot for me right now, though.
And I didn't snitch.
Right now,
I didn't snitch, though.
Where you at?
I want to be clear that that was not a TMZ photographer who has a bullet in his leg. I'm not really sure why he was bragging about that. By the way, before Rihanna got in court today, perhaps she and Rocky were discussing defense strategy. They went out for dinner last night. It's been a while since we've seen Rihanna out for dinner. We know that her favorite restaurant, I think, do you know if Giorgio Baldi, I think they've got to be closed. They're very close to the Palisades,
right?
But they went out to a different restaurant last night. And I also think that part of this is PR, right?
I mean, that's a pretty clear show of that she's backing him, right? And they knew that the cameras were going to be there, and it didn't seem to shy away from them either.
Hi, Mandy in Toronto. I think the testimony yesterday was very damaging, but Rihanna is that girl. And I think ASAP not taking the original plea deal speaks volumes. And look, at the end of the day, all the girlies, we're going to ride for Riri. And if she's choosing to back her man, we are here for it. And I love that she's out here and doing it so publicly.
Yeah, what a great setup she's got, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty good. And by the way, if you're on the jury pool, that's what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to just go, oh, that's Riri. We ride with her. But you got to listen to.
But you're thinking that original plea deal might have been looking pretty good for Rocky right now.
I think during dinner last night, there's no way that Rocky and Rihanna weren't talking about. So what was that plea deal that you didn't take? Huh?
Right.
What was that?
That would have been a few months potentially behind bars instead of potentially 24 years in state prison.
Yeah, big difference. All right, we're going to move on now to Kim Kardashian, who is not facing charges for what you're about to see because it wasn't real life. But, man, she's got a heck of a swing with a baseball bat. This is Kim destroying. So at first she's taking some practice swings here. But she eventually moves on to hitting the back window of a BMW.
Woo! Look at her go.
Yeah.
So this is on set for Hulu legal drama called All's Fair, which got a big cast, including Glenn Close and Sarah Paulson and Naomi Watts and Niecy Nash.
Yeah.
And this looks a lot like Beyonce, right? From the Hold Up video.
It kind of does, right? And remember, in the Beyonce music video, it was like her confronting like a cheater. And Kim's role in this movie is it's kind of loosely based off of Laura Wasser, who's a well-known divorce attorney in LA. And Laura did have her own divorce at one point. So maybe this scene is loosely based off of like being angry.
I don't know that Laura ever actually did that, but maybe she thought about doing it, and that's...
Or it's a fantasy sequence, right?
But yes...
But Kim's form is great. I mean, you see her face, you never even see her grimacing. She just keeps it straight and...
How long before the Dodgers sign her, right? Well, they signed everybody else.
I got a big enough payroll as it is. I don't know if they can afford her, but maybe.
Hi, guys. My name is Honey. I'm from London. But at this point, I feel like Kim is losing her touch, her credibility. What we need to see is Kim, the mother, Kim, the entrepreneur, and navigating through motherhood, business, and being a single mom. That's what I would watch.
So you're not here for Kim Kardashian, the actress?
No, I'm not. I want to see Kim navigating, just being her authentic self, like she is when she's doing TikTok with her daughter North. That's what we want to see. I'm definitely watching that.
See, I like the idea of her as an actress, right? Why not? Expanding?
But what I hear her saying is that she became famous as a reality TV star, right? So people see her in that lane, and when she steps out of it, and she's gotten some kudos for her acting, right? But some of her fans clearly just want to see the reality stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kim's going to do what Kim wants to do, regardless.
There's some questions about the authenticity and reality of some of the reality show to begin with. Maybe she was an actress during some of that. Just saying.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Anthony Mackie responds to all of the Captain America backlash after he told an audience that Captain America doesn't really represent America for him. You're going to hear how he's clarifying this, and also something that Chris Evans said about Captain America when he had the role. And
what's the difference between the two of them?
Chris Evans and Anthony Mackie. What is the difference? The Captain America controversy gets a little bit deeper. I know you may go, if you're not a fan of the movies, you go like, why are people arguing about a scripted movie about a comic book character? Well, it's because it is
more than that.
Exactly. For a lot of people, Captain America represents America.
Right.
The controversy, if you missed it yesterday, is that Anthony Mackie, who is his first movie as Captain America, is coming out in just a few weeks. He was questioned during what does Captain America stand for him. We should give the context that he was in Rome at the time, and he said, I don't think he necessarily represents America. It's a lot more things like integrity, being a good person, things like that. Well, a lot of people felt like he was making an un-American statement, that it was anti-American, that he is anti-American in some way. A few hours after that all exploded, Anthony
Clean up on aisle 9.
Exactly. Clean up on aisle 9, directed by Disney, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But this is the statement that he released late yesterday. Let me be clear about this. I am a proud American, and taking on the shield of a hero like Cap is the honor of a lifetime. I have the utmost respect for those who serve and have served our country. Cap has universal characteristics that people all over the world can relate to. So that last part is saying that's what I meant, but he wanted to make it clear that he is proud. And obviously, that's what Disney and Marvel would want him to say. I'm not saying that it's not genuine, that he doesn't feel those things, but that's what they want to hear to get people to go to the movies.
And we also think about this, the world has changed a lot since this comic book first came out. Now you think of the international audience is so important to Disney's business strategy. You need this movie to be huge, not only in America, you want it to be big in China or in
Italy,
Rome or all these other places. And so the idea of it being bigger than just America may be smart business.
Yeah, I think that's why he said it. I don't think Anthony Mackie would have made these comments if he was sitting in like Oklahoma or Florida. I think he would have. He wouldn't have made the comment. Yeah, he's in Rome and he's trying to package it and make it as appealing as possible to a global audience. I get that. I mean, we've seen other, Rachel Ziegler, she said some things about her character in a Disney movie, and Disney didn't step in that case. So I really don't think although they wouldn't have wanted him to say this, I don't think they would have told him, hey, Anthony, you've got to come out and try and clean this up. I don't think they would have done that. I take him at his word here. He didn't mean any, ill will towards America here. Not at all.
I agree with you on that. Now, we found something really interesting that part of this was people were wondering, like, is this becoming a big controversy? Because for the first time, you have a black actor playing Captain America. Is that what people were really upset about, that you have a black guy saying something that some people perceived as anti-American? What we found was something that Chris Evans, who played Captain America in all the previous Marvel movies, that he said back in 2011 when the first Captain America movie is coming out. He said, I quote, I'm not trying to get too lost in the American side of it. This isn't a flag-waving movie. It is red, white, and blue, but it just so happens that the character was created in America during wartime. He should just be called Captain Good.
And was that a big controversy back then?
I don't believe it was. I don't believe it was. Now, what's the difference? It's not, I don't think anyway, it's about race. I don't think it's that Chris Evans is white and Anthony Mackie's black. I think it speaks more to 2011 in America as opposed to 2025 in America.
Big difference in terms of our culture.
In terms of our culture, our politics, the divide, the great divide in our country. That's what it's really about.
Even some of the animus towards Disney, which always was seen as a non-political entity that now a lot of people on the right see as a potentially political entity as well.
Right. I think this is just about the nature, the fact everything gets politicized now, no matter how far it starts away from politics, somehow people bring it into that. And I think that's really the difference between Chris Evans and Anthony Mackie.
Hello, my name is Darius. I'm from Canada. I'm glad that Anthony Mackie clarified his original statement on social media because he didn't say it in a bad way, or it's not like I disagree with what he said. He just didn't say it in the best way. America is in the character's name, and he stands up for Americans for what's right, values of freedom, justice, all the good qualities. I'm not American or live in America, yet I look up to him without him having to be more than just an American
hero.
So
as a non-American yourself,
as a Canadian,
you kind of like the fact that it's Captain America. You think he should lean into the American aspect of it.
Yeah, I look up to him without him having to be more than just a hero for America, even though the Marvel movies has shown that he is more without taking away the American part. That Captain America is a hero to us all, but first for America.
I'd like to have Canada weighing in on that. That was perfect.
Thank you.
All right, moving on now to Taylor Swift's listening habits.
Yeah.
You always wonder, like, what does Taylor enjoy listening to?
What's she doing in her spare time? She wants some X's and O's on football, baby.
I guess so, because this is what Travis Kelce, her boyfriend, had to say on the latest episode of New Heights with his brother, their podcast. And they answered a question that I know their fans, by the way, I still think a lot of their fans, and this is no knock on them, they're clearly very popular, the Kelce brothers, but a lot of people and a lot of Taylor's fans tune in every week because they think this is the week she's going to be on.
Is she going to be there?
Is she going to be on? She has not been on yet, but she is with the Kelce brothers in spirit, apparently. Here's what they said about Taylor's listening patterns.
She was very complimentary of the show.
Nice.
And of like,
she listens every week.
She gave us some creative compliments, and she like, like, let me be very clear. You can't tell the rest of my. I'm gonna be very honest. Like, you can't. I am gonna be obnoxious. I'm like, do you know? When somebody of that sort of like creative caliber pays you a compliment, you're kind of like, oh. And again, I'm going to be a complete narcissist from here on out, and I'm sorry to everybody who's around.
Taylor.
Yeah.
By the way, the guy who was talking is an intern.
Is an intern. So imagine being an intern on this show, and then Taylor Swift compliments your artistry and creativity.
I mean, he's an intern. How much creative control are they giving the intern? Good for them. Good for the Kelce brothers.
Yeah, by the way, we see Jason Kelce with the Philadelphia Eagles hat, because that's one of the other big questions, is who's he going to be rooting for? His old team that he played with, or his brother, who is now playing in the Super Bowl against each other? I think we get a sense of who he's rooting for.
I think he's rooting for actually, he talked about it. It was kind of a fence-sitting thing. He's rooting for the Eagles. He's wearing the Eagles gear, but he said, oh, of course I'm rooting for my brother. I'm rooting for my brother. So we'll see. Sounds like he's leaning Eagles, but he wants to be supportive of his family.
Yeah.
Sitting on the fence.
Jackson Clemens, New York City. He should be rooting for the Eagles. They have all of the Swifties over there. We got to balance out the scales a little bit. And of course, Travis Kelce has Taylor Swift listening to the podcast. All right? Like, you don't think he with all that golden retriever energy is sitting there like, Taylor, did you see I passed the ball? Did you talk about it? And Taylor Swift, the master of putting a personal conversation into a group chat. You don't think she's listening to that podcast trying to figure out what her next album is going to be about? This is perfect for her.
So if he's a golden retriever, what is Taylor Swift?
Oh, absolutely. It's two golden retrievers. These are purebreds.
I thought you were going to say she's throwing the ball.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, big moment for the Trump administration. They get the opportunity to clear up the drone mystery. What are all these drones that are above the Northeast? They've been all over the world spotted.
We finally have answers. They promised answers.
Well, we got an answer. Was it a good one? We are going to talk to a UFO researcher when we come back. Big moment for the Trump administration yesterday because you know that he had been talking a lot of smack about President Biden and his administration's response to the drones, the mysterious drones.
Saying they weren't transparent. They weren't basically telling us what was really going on. And he was going to be the one to tell us close to day one what was going on.
Yeah, he said, when I get in the Oval Office, we're just going to tell you what it is. This is ridiculous. There's no reason they should be hiding this from you. So, at the very first White House press briefing for the new press secretary, Caroline Levitt, that came up, of course, and this was her response.
I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Okay, I guess the one really important part there was this was not the enemy.
Which is what the Biden administration had said.
Yeah, exactly. So we basically got the same exact information. I guess they said the FAA had authorized all this, but authorized it for what? And this transparency that was promised, I didn't hear it there. But maybe we're listening for the wrong things. They're going to bring in someone who does have a lot of knowledge, way more than we do on this. Richard Dolan is an author, historian, and one of the leading UFO researchers in the world. He is joining us right now. By the way, you can also see Richard in UFO Revolution, Season 2. Streaming now on Tubi. But Richard, thank you so much for being with us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Obviously, we all knew this was going to come up because Trump had made such a big deal about it before he got into the Oval Office. What did you hear from Caroline Levitt that we didn't?
I don't know if I heard anything that you guys didn't. I thought the explanation for this, really the mystery drones, let's call them that, even if some of them are maybe not necessarily be drones. I thought the answer fell woefully short of addressing the extraordinary nature of these sightings. There's all kinds of critical details throughout the wave of these sightings that were not discussed. A lot of the behavior of these seemed quite anomalous to the witnesses involved. The fact that they were present globally, well beyond the United States jurisdiction. We had sightings in the UK over military bases there, Ramstein base in Germany, many other places. And then also contradictions in the FAA's own statements previously just don't track. The fact that they shut down airspace over this, the fact that military and other government bodies did not seem to know what was going on, the fact that the answer was so vague, various activities. We're wondering, what are you really talking about here, guys? So no, I think we were expecting something more forthcoming from the Trump White House. The Biden White House certainly did not do a good job in being upfront about it, but we're really not getting anything better under the new administration yet.
So, Richard, let's try to read between the lines here. Not an enemy and FAA approved. So that does mean we can say that these were flown by the government, aside from the hobbyists who started joining in. A government agency approved these drones being flown, but what we don't know is for what purpose, and that's the concerning part, right?
Yeah, well, you got a couple of possibilities here. I mean, think of it, if you're someone who, as I am, believes that UFOs are a real thing, that they are anomalous, so okay, there's that given. But if you are someone who thinks that, you can see that any government, Biden or Trump's White House either, are in a tough spot. I mean, what if there are genuinely difficult to explain aspects of this phenomenon, which is what it certainly looks like to me? How do you actually explain to the public, yeah, there's some of these things they can instantly accelerate. They are not trackable. They don't give off an electromagnetic signal like all drones are supposed to do. We don't have electronic countermeasures that can take them down. How do you actually tell this to the public? So I think there may be a delay game going on here, possibly. That might be one of the better case scenarios, that they're just trying to say something to appease the public. It's not working while they look for a better answer, which may not be possible. Or they're just engaging in a decades, generations-long UFO cover-up that we've been seeing all along. Just don't deal with the actual evidence as it is and just hope this whole thing just goes away.
You know this stuff better than just about anybody. Based off of what you know, what do you think it is?
I think some of them are drones, for sure. And I think a lot of that aspect has been promoted for reasons that are not difficult to understand. But I have thought all along that some of these drone sightings are way too difficult to explain as just drones. I think they're beyond that. Now, admittedly, we're in a tough spot because a lot of the evidence that's come out is hard to confirm. There's a lot of video floating around there. Is it genuine, legit, or not? But there's so much of it out there that does appear to show some very difficult to explain phenomenon.
I have a feeling this is going to come up again because folks want answers, and especially if we start seeing the drones in large numbers again like that. I don't know how long, Richard, they can just say, you know, FAA approved and don't worry about it, because people are going to worry about it if you don't give them information.
Yeah. From what I'm hearing, the sightings are still continuing, by the way. They don't get the kind of coverage that they were getting a month or two ago, but I don't think it has stopped. And so I too, I want to keep an eye on this one. I think it's worth following still.
All right. Well, we will do that. Richard, thank you so much for being with us, and we will talk to you soon, I have a feeling.
Great insight.
My pleasure.
All right. By the way, just a reminder, UFO Revolution Season 2 is streaming right now on Tubi. Richard, one of the experts that we talked to on this, it is really
Jeremy Corbell, whose picture was there, is also fantastic.
Pushing for answers. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, RFK Jr. is on the hot seat as we speak.
Cheryl Hines right behind.
Confirmation hearing, and that's what we're going to get into. Cheryl Hines has stood by her man as she said she would, but during the hearing today, some interesting reactions from her as he was getting seriously grilled. Welcome back to TMZ Live. This is the big day for maybe the most controversial of President Trump's
that's a maybe.
Nominees. Maybe.
It's a pretty controversial one.
RFK Jr. is on the hot seat as he's been nominated to be the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. And it's off to a rough start for him. We'll just say that it is ongoing right now, but it has been, they are hitting him hard. The Democrats, clearly, hitting him very hard with questions about a lot of things he has said about vaccines, that he has said about, particularly about the source of COVID, things about AIDS around the world. They have hit him with everything they can.
And it's especially personal because he, of course, ran for president as a Democrat, comes from perhaps the most famous Democratic family of all time, and now he's joined forces with Donald Trump, which is why so many Democrats are so much against him.
Right. So when you watch the hearing, you can look for, obviously, his answers, but there's something else going on here. Because seated right behind him is his wife, Cheryl Hines. And we have had RFK Jr. and Cheryl on the show here. And we know that her politics don't necessarily align with his, or at least they didn't. So what is her reaction to some of these questions? There was one particular moment here. Senator Bernie Sanders was hitting him hard with some questions about, of all things, onesies. You will hear it. You're going to hear it in the soundbite why onesies came up. But also, try to take a look at what Cheryl's reaction is at the end of this, because it's interesting.
Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines.
I've had nothing to do with leadership.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And watch this. Cheryl says, like, oh boy, that was.
And
that
Megyn
was
Kelly
rough.
there too. You see her right behind Cheryl smiling.
Yeah, I mean, Cheryl's face says it all. That was rough. Right. But there's another part of it that was very interesting because, look, like you said, the Kennedys are that family when it comes to politics. And so we've seen other nominees go up there, and at some point, they basically have to kiss the ring.
Right.
And say something really glowing about President Trump, who has nominated them.
Well, and
that's not uncommon.
Yeah, and we know that his big thing is make America healthy again. And for years, he's crusaded against companies like McDonald's. And then you think about that UFC fight, and then they went on a flight together, and Bobby Kennedy had to sit there
with the McDonald's.
And this was like how you torture him. This is his version of waterboarding, sitting there with a McDonald's burger in front of him to endorse this. And that was brought up as well.
It was. And his answer, well,
it was funny.
Little kissing the ring, too.
I don't want to take food away from anybody. If you like a cheeseburger, a McDonald's cheeseburger, a Diet Coke, which my boss loves, and you should be able to get them. If you want to eat Hostess Twinkies, you should be able to do that. But you should know what the impacts are on your family and on your health.
I mean, he sounds exactly like a politician. He's been reeling all his positions back. I mean, he was campaigning on being anti-processed foods, being anti-vax, and now you see him saying, oh, if you want a Twinkie, have a Twinkie. If you want McDonald's, have McDonald's. Oh, and by the way, I want safe vaccines for everyone. So he just sounds like a classic politician to me, and definitely bending the ring, like you said, Charles.
RFK Jr. is a great lawyer. That's where most of his life experience is, and he was answering like a lawyer, trying not to get in traps sent by the senators. And by the way, some of those positions are not necessarily in conflict with each other. Right. You could be against the idea of some of these foods. You might not want to eat them yourself, but that doesn't mean you necessarily believe in mandates that people shouldn't be allowed to have them. That is a consistent position.
Yeah, we will see how this vote goes. All right, moving on now to something really cool that Jelly Roll is doing here in Los Angeles. We've told you that he is part of that massive lineup for Thursday night's Fire Aid benefit, but he's going one step further, doing something specifically for the first responders who have been battling these fires now for weeks. He's going to be having a sort of a pop-up show. It sounds weird to say, because that pop-up show is at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, like 90,000 people.
And it is going to be a free show for all first responders. And by the way, the show is only for first responders. So this is really something special that he is doing here on a very busy weekend in the music industry.
Yeah, first responders have until midnight tonight to apply. They can bring up to 3 guests to go to that show. And it is remarkable to see the love of the entire entertainment industry this week, not only with this show at the Rose Bowl, but Fire Aid, which is bringing together all the biggest names in music at one time. It's going to be seen basically everywhere. Almost every streaming device is going to be airing it at the same time.
Hi, my name is Donnell Macklin. I'm calling from Manhattan, New York. And I think Jelly Roll is putting on the ultimate act of selflessness by putting on this show for the first responders. It seems like something that will help start to soothe the trauma in which we've all witnessed from the safety of our homes. And I hope this is the start of many artists to follow Jelly Roll's lead.
Yeah, and you think about Jelly Roll going from his time behind bars now to the place that he's be able to do a Rose Bowl pop-up. His career arc is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. All right. When we come back, democracy at work. What happens when democracy meets Jerry Springer?
Yeah, I mean, if C-SPAN looked like this, it'd get better ratings.
They would get much better ratings. Because what went down in a suburban Chicago village last night is absolutely wild. A massive brawl all over the mayor of this town. It's Dolton, Illinois. And the mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is a very controversial figure. In fact, there are some people who have given her this title of worst mayor in America. And she's been involved in a lot of things. But last night, people in the town were kind of fed up. And there was a suggestion that she needs to be replaced on the board of on the town board. So you're going to hear a very concerned citizen named Jedediah Brown, who decided he was going to put this up for a vote. I don't think it actually
not a real vote,
simple,
but it's.
But Jedediah threw it out there to see what the crowd reaction would be. First, there's the vote, and then comes the brawl, which was started by Mayor Henyard's boyfriend stepping up to defend her.
We're going to exchange your black ass for Stephanie being a new member of Congress. So all those in favor say, all those against it say nay, all those in favor say aye. You go.
intense. That would be an intense brawl at any sort of town hall meeting, but when you have the mayor actually getting in the middle of it, this is, for a mayor that was already controversial, and now to have this huge brawl break out. I couldn't tell there who threw the first punch.
Right.
Which I think may become relevant.
It seems like the mayor's boyfriend, Kamal, threw the first punch. It seems like he was upset that this activist who goes by Jedediah Brown basically called his girlfriend a bitch. So the
Not basically, he did say, he said, you know it, bitch.
He did in a very loud and fashionable way. He basically said, who agrees that Tiffany should be off the board? A lot of the members at this meeting said, I do, and he simply said, you're done, bitch, which got Tiffany's boyfriend upset. He approached Jedediah, and it turned into what we saw.
So here's the question. What happens going forward, too? And I know, Tawanda, you've been speaking to Jedediah this morning. Does anything come of this? Obviously, it seems like there is going to be an actual vote eventually about Mayor Henyard's future, but anyone going to take legal action after this brawl?
So we were actually going to have Jedediah on the show, but unfortunately he was not able to make it because he is in court right now. So he is 1,000% taking legal action. He is trying to get a protective order. He has filed a police report, I want to say, for battery. He has mentioned the thought of possibly filing a lawsuit that could be coming down the line in the next coming days. So he is very taken aback by this. He feels that this attack was pre-planned. He and Tiffany have had issues ongoing for quite some time, for a few months. He has been calling her for her resignation for a while. So the beef between Tiffany and Jedediah is nothing new. But yes, you can guarantee that he has decided to take some legal action and might even take it further, like I said, with the lawsuit.
Hi, my name is Bree from New Jersey, and looking at that is insane. Can you imagine being a fly on the wall at dinner tonight? Like, okay, thank you for, defending me, but you also might have cost me my job. I just can't even imagine how that conversation is going to go.
I know you cover a lot of town meetings around Los Angeles County. Ever seen anything like that?
Not like that. And we probably would cover more if we saw more of that.
We're not condoning
it
or suggesting that.
Not good.
Not encouraging
that's the way
at all.
Yeah, a lot of attention for this town hall meeting.
All right, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, a look inside OJ Simpson's home. Who will be the winner of OJ Simpson's home in Nevada? Who will end up living there? Right now, his son Justin is living there, and we broke the story that the estate is now taking legal action, trying to get him out of this house.
Saying he's basically a squatter.
Yeah, that he isn't the rightful owner of it, although he says on paper, legally, my LLC took control of this house because they were trying to shield it from OJ's creditors. But because of that battle, we now have the first video inside the home since OJ Simpson's death. And it really shows all of this stuff. It's basically everything must go. The estate is trying to sell off everything because they're trying to, one, pay OJ Simpson's bills. He's got millions of dollars owed to creditors, including the Goldman family. And then also, whatever's left, if there's anything left, would go to his heirs.
And this was essentially his deathbed, right?
Yeah.
That they brought in for hospice care of him. You see what's left behind. This is what the house looked like at the time of O.J. Simpson's death. Apparently, he's a fan of Shiner Bach.
Yeah, Shiner Bach.
And then we got the USC. We can think of the Buffalo Bills. And we also see, at some point, the Heisman Trophy, which was, of course, the reason he ended up behind bars all those years ago. Right. He ended up with the Heisman Trophy at the time of his death sitting there as well.
The house itself, those are protected by weird state laws, but all that personal property that's in it, I think that's exactly what Fred Goldman's been trying to get all these years. So who knows if this is going to open up sort of a Pandora's box for them.
Yeah, and Malcolm Laverne, the executor for the estate, says he wants to liquidate as much as he can, but if Justin's going to remain there in the house, that's going to be difficult.
Hi, I'm Luke Lundy from Hammond, New York, and I think all that sports memorabilia that's going to sell for a lot of money for sure. All that football stuff. But what surprises me the most about all the stuff seen in the video is the wedding pictures with Nicole Brown still being up. I thought that was really striking.
Yeah, and some would say in very poor taste. But yes, that's
good point.
Though not shocking knowing OJ Simpson's personality and the fact that he had convinced himself, certainly, that he had nothing to do with it, despite what the jury said in Santa Monica.
At least publicly convinced himself. Who knows what he was thinking in the final day.
Exactly. All right, what else do you guys want to talk about?
Hi, my name is Shells from Los Angeles, and I am commenting on A$AP Rocky and Rihanna going for a bite to eat after court. Listen, whether he's proven innocent or proven guilty, a girl's got to eat, right? And why not do that in a fashionable style? Because you never know if it's going to be a victory meal or his last meal.
Oh, wow. There's a cloud over the dinner, but that's reality for sure. One more.
Hi, my name is Michael Hernandez, and I live in Toledo, Ohio. Bernie, the election's over. Let's get to the next question at hand, which is to Mr. Kennedy. That being said, we should have known all along what was in our food.
Yeah, I mean, the RFK has said that that's something that the information he wants to be transparent to the American public. So I think that's one of the easier things for people to get on board with as far as...
Unless you're a food company.
Yeah, that's true.
They got a lot of money, too. That's part of the reason it hasn't been so easy to get on board with over the years.
Good point. All right, when we come back, Martha Stewart gets in bed with a company, and all of her fans are benefiting.
We can envision what it's like to get in bed with her.
That is exactly what came out of this collaboration. Martha Stewart is giving you a very sexy look that I would not have expected from Martha, but listen, she's never been one to, as some people would say, act her age. At 83, she is still living very vibrantly.
Thirst trap, baby.
And thirst trapping, like a bedroom thirst trap. Watch this and listen.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. What gets me in the nude? How about a strawberry, fresh picked from the garden? Best in the hot sun.
So she's promoting nude lipstick. That's the idea behind all of this.
Right, by doing basically audio porn. Listen, it's got a lot of attention, and I'm sure that this makeup company is going to be thrilled. Those parts we just showed you, that's like the cleanest part of it. You can go look it up online
if that's you want. Your thing. Maybe that's a fetish for some people.
If that's your thing. Elex, thanks for being here, man.
It was fun. Thank you.
We will